Hello and welcome to GG Weekend Watch with myself, Kate Tracy, alongside Dave Young and Andrew Mount. A big thank you to Matty for holding the fort in my absence, and the lads, of course, as well. Feels weird being back in the seat, but I'm glad that we're back for this weekend because we have loads of top class 2-year-old action to go at, as well as the small matter and the easy puzzle of the Cambridgeshire as well. Added into that, we have a couple of Haydock handicaps to go at, just for the blend of action. So looking forward to this, and the lads are in good form as always. Last week we had 9 races covered, which resulted in 4 winners, including Andrew's nap and a near miss for Matty's nap into second. In the 115 at Ayr, we had Andrew tipping up Impartiality, finished third at 7-1. The 130 at Newbury, Andrew's nap was First Instinct, who won at 11-1. So congratulations. Matty was also with First Instinct as well. Not the nap, but we'll still give him a round of applause. 150 at Ayr, Matty had Almeric, 13-8 winner. 205 Newbury, Matty had Majestic Warrior, 6-1 in second. 225 at Ayr, Andrew had Candy, 8-1 winner. 240 at Newbury, Andrew had Due to Henry, 12-1 finished fourth. Matty's nap, Theory of Tides, 9-2 finished second. 3 o'clock at Ayr, Matty had Catching the Moon, 15-2 winner. And the 335 at Ayr, Andrew had Jubilee Walk, who finished third at 8-1. There you go. Hopefully all covered, all the same, but very well done to you, Mr. Matt, and to Matty as well. Hopefully that can continue, and we're going to kick start with the 150 at Newmarket, the Group 2 Royal Lodge Stakes for the 2-year-olds. Over a mile, 15-8 favourite Bow Echo in this one. So, Mr. Mount, it only feels right after an 11-1 nap went in last week. You should kick us off.
Yeah, welcome back, Kate. We've been doing all right recently. Did Dave mention his big mojo was his 16-1 winning nap from the week before you?
He did not mention this. And not that I didn't tune in or anything like that, but I'm glad we made aware.
So he's now known as Big Mojo. That's his new name. So. Not Ming the Merciless with that thing in the background there, or what did you call him?
A Tudor Queen.
A Tudor Queen, that's it. So.
Viewers right now will have no idea what you and I are on about at all. They won't come into vision yet, but just you wait. Just you wait. But we'll leave that for just a moment, though, with Dave's new aesthetic in his background. Let us know what you think he looks like. Andrew, though, you're still in the sauna, so who wins the Royal Lodge?
Yeah, cracking open of this one. We should first mention the stalls were in the centre at Newmarket on Saturday. As we record this, we've had the first race at Newmarket on Thursday. The stalls were stand side. It looked like an advantage, albeit from a one-race sample, to have that near side rail. So it'll be interesting to see where they race, because they're racing here on Friday as well. Bow Echo, the favourite, has got a high draw in stall 8. I was impressed by that debut effort, as everybody was, and of course there was the jury was out as to whether he was fortunate to be published or not at Haydock and listed company next time, when the runner-up sort of weaved all over the track. But I thought it was a good performance still. The only downside here is stats-wise, a prep over 7 furlongs has been ideal for winning the Royal Lodge. 8 of the last 10 winners ran over 7 furlongs, and they're raced immediately before Newmarket, backing all 31 qualifiers, produced a profit of almost £24. That counts against the favourite, counts against Action, but it is a positive for Pacific Avenue for Godolphin, who of course was the stable second string when winning from Wild Desert on the July course in June. And of course Wild Desert since then, that one was 130 on that day. Since then has finished a narrow second in Woodbine in Grade 1 company, and Pacific Avenue was still green when going down by half a length in fourth at Sandown next time in Group 3 company. So I'm going to go with the Godolphin runner. I think there's more improvement to come from this one, and certainly fits the prep stats, having run over 7 furlongs last time.
There you go, then at 11-2 as well for Pacific Avenue, William Beale and Charlie Appleby for Andrew. Dave, the Tudor Queen, who'd you like?
The Tudor Queen. When I get a racehorse, that's what it's got to be called, isn't it? The Tudor Queen.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to come back in after decent form from the lads last week. I haven't had to nap for 2 weeks because I'm still living off a big mojo, so stay tuned to find out if I can find a nap this week. But Bow Echo was a horse that I fancied last time to beat Publish. We talked about Publish the week prior in that Solario Stakes at Sandown as a horse that I wanted to take on. Got a bit soft there, didn't it? And that was that finish where we had Pacific Avenue in there. Humidity ran in that race. It was a real bit of a tight tussle finish there, but the market moved a little bit for the winner, although there was 4 of them that crossed the line at the same time. So it could have gone any which way. Those horses have put up bigger RPRs than what Bo Echo's done, but I thought the performance last time when Publish did rally, the money came for Bo Echo. It looked like he was potentially on that market move, going to absolutely slam up, and Publish wasn't going to run any sort of a race. But knuckled down really nicely when Publish came to the horse. Like Andrew said, the jury's out whether maybe Publish maybe gave it away or wider a little bit, or whether Bo Echo just quickened. But I think looking at that finish in the Solario Stakes, I know it was on slower ground and it's a different track, over a different trip as well. I just think the speed that Bo Echo showed to clear past Publish, who was a favourite for that Solario Stakes, potentially could have won the race if it was on the right type of ground. I think Bo Echo would have just beaten the other two horses there, Pacific Avenue and Humidity, for a return of foot. So I'm going to side with that horse. And we can prove stats with anything, or facts with anything, can't we? All the little statty stuff. I did look at the prep stuff for this one, and because Bo Echo's only raced twice, both times at a mile. There's horses that have done that in the past. There's 4 horses this century that have done that. They've only raced twice. They've won both their races, and both those races came at a mile, and 2 of those 4 won. So there is a positive return on investment for those horses. Both those horses were trained by John Gosden, though, and they haven't got a horse in this race. But I think there was enough about Bo Echo's performance last time out that I thought the horse could be like a group horse. I know it's stepping up from listed ascendant stakes into a group 2 here, but I definitely don't want to stay away from Bo Echo just yet. The top price of 15 to 8 might just be about right. We might see some 2 to 1 a little bit bigger, but he was smashed in the market last time. If the same thing happens here, then the 15 to 8 could look quite big. I don't think I'd want to play him any shorter, but I do think he's the most likely winner of this race.
Yeah, the most likely winner. But as you say, then 15 to 8, do watch that top price at the time of recording. But if you're able to get that bit of 2 to 1, all the better. Andrew's distracting me massively here with his WhatsApp. So what Dave is currently looking like, he's just sending him pictures into the WhatsApp group of, I don't even know what that first character is, Mr. Mount, but you want to set a poll on.
You obviously didn't watch Flash Gordon when you were about -10 years old then. No, definitely not. But Andrew's going to set up a poll on X anyway then for Dave's likeness here, but we keep calling it his halo as well. So make sure to head over to Andrew's X then to get the poll on who Dave currently looks like. But Bo Echo all the same then for Dave, the angelic queen there. Right, the 205 now at Haydock. This is a 0 to 100 handicap, 3-year-olds and over 5 furlongs, 7 to 2 the field. Wolverhampton, she's right, come back to form, hasn't she? Bidding for the hat trick here. So is she going to be able to land it, Dave, or are you going elsewhere?
Well, possibly could. It does look a bit of a trappy contest. You touched on the fact we've got some real good racing from Newmarket, and then there's these 2 handicaps from Haydock. That's not to minimise them. They're both like nice competitive racing. But looking at the weather forecast, there is a bit of rain due at Haydock on Saturday. How early that comes, I'm not 100% sure, but it's about good to soft at the moment. Looks like it will probably dry a little bit, but we know what Haydock's like when it gets wet. Ultimately, I'm looking at this race and the fixtures at this point that there's going to be some soft in the ground. Whether it's good to soft or whether it's fully soft, I don't definitely know. So tempered enthusiasm on both the Haydock races. But I did think that last year's winner, Blue Storm, was the eye-catching runner in the race, given that a pound higher mark than last season. Has only run twice since. Had an 11-month gap between the race after. Now, the race that the horse ran after, which it was hiked up to 104 from 99, was just on the wrong side of the course. It's exclusively raced at 5 furlongs and was staying on in that race at Newmarket. I think it was, maybe it was Doncaster, but it was just on the wrong side of the track. Wasn't a bad effort, but obviously he's been off the track for 11 months since then. Hasn't had that much racing, and I don't think this horse has finished the upward trajectory. So the fact that it's a pound lower than last season's mark, when it won this race on soft ground, albeit, I think we might get similar-ish ground, so that might not be as slow, but it will definitely have some ease in it, I think. The fact that the horse had a prep run back at this track last time out as well, where it very much looked like a prep run, 11 months off, was just out the back, just sort of never really doing anything, just maybe just a case of sort of a race course gallop, despite the fact they're not supposed to do it. But what are you going to do when they're 11 months off the track and you might have a little bit of a target? So maybe there's a small chance of them, I don't want to say they've rushed the horse back, but they might have had this race in mind, and then you don't know how fit they've managed to get the horse. So I'd want to keep an eye on the market, but 8 to 1 at the time of recording, with 4 places up for grabs. For last year's winner, who's only off a £1 higher mark, and I don't think's finished progressing, looks like the obvious way to play the 205.
There you go then. Yeah, and a nice price to boot as well. But a trappy contest, as Dave was saying there, Andrew. How are you playing it?
Yeah, good race this. Some strong stats associated with age. In the last 10 renewals, going back to 2014, because the meeting was abandoned in 2019, 9 of the 10 winners were aged 3 or 4. Those aged 5 or older, just 1 from 72. You'd have expected between 4 and 5 winners based on that. The 4-year-old Blue Storm was where I wanted to go. Like Dave in this one, won the race last year. Needed that course and distance return after a break of 315 days last time. Was well drawn that day, but that was the race Democracy Dilemma came across, got on the Golden Highway, and was the only pace in the race and duly made all. Now, since joining Gemma Tucky, Blue Storm's 2 from 2 on his second run back after a break. He's a hold-up horse who should get the race run for suit, because I've been through the running style. There's loads of pace in this race, not least from Always Glamorous, who set the race up for Ascot last time when Wolverhampton came with her usual late run to win. Wolverhampton's a fantastic horse. She tends to get behind in her races. She just needs to go like the clappers. She needs cut in the ground. And when she won at Sandown 2 runs ago, she was the 5-4 favourite. She touched 10 to 1 in running, with just over a furlong to go. She was stone last with half a furlong to go. She was still a length behind and didn't look to be picking up. And then she's not only has she won, but she's won by almost 3 lengths. It's amazing her turn of foot when she gets going. So with Always Glamorous, who set it up for her last time in the race again. I think that's a good angle. The other one of interest is Lethal Nymph, I should say, who's got a really good record at this time of year. 4 runs in September, have produced 3 wins and a 25 to 1 second. And this one was the winner last time out at Doncaster in the middle of the month. Was returning from a break of 122 days. So yeah, I'm sort of Blue Storm. I fear Wolverhampton, and I respect Lethal Nymph. Lethal Nymph, can't say that. But the interesting thing as well is we've had some real strong draw bias races at Haydock this season, when the stand side has been massively favoured, giving high draws the edge. I think there were so many complaints after the Sprint Cup meeting. You wonder if there's going to be some creative watering or some jiggery pokery to try and even that out. So I'm kind of half tempted to do stalls 1, 2, and 3 combination forecasts and TriCast, just in case they all come wide down the middle of the track. But we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, definitely. So do keep an eye on that then, exactly how the draw is playing out. But Wolverhampton 7-2 heading the way. Lads in agreement about Blue Storm at 8 to 1, and also Lethal Nymph at 16 to 1 as well. So plenty of ways to play that 205 at Haydock. For 225 at Newmarket is the Group 1 Cheveley Park Stakes for the 2-year-olds over the 6 furlongs. Royal Fixation it is, who heads away at 7 to 4, Andrew. So looking forward to this one.
Yeah, another cracking race. Interesting to note that the 2 at the head of the market, well, Royal Fixation is quite clear in that he's drawn top of the shop in stall 9 of 9. Beautify, Aidan O'Brien's runner, is drawn 1 of 9. So do check the earlier race to see what happens draw-wise, whether they want to come across to the stand-side rail, whether that will favour high draw or not. Aidan O'Brien has got a good record in this race in the past 10 years. 5 winners from 14 runners. Profit of £39.38 to a £1 stake. And Irish trainers in general do well in this race, or certainly have done recently. In the last 10 years, 7 winners from 29 bets, profit of £46.88. Jessica Harrington's weighed in with a winner, as has Donica O'Brien, which would make his Havana Anna of interest each way from a double-figure price here. 20 to 1, I think I can see. The other one I thought was of interest at a bigger price was Orion's Belt, who was only second in the Dick Pool at Salisbury last time on heavy ground behind Amphelia. But we've had a couple of recent winners of this race who've come from the Dick Pool, actually coincidentally also finishing second in that race. And at 40 to 1, I could give the Starman filly a shout here, particularly if she's likely to make the running. And on a track where such tactics are generally favoured. So yeah, I didn't really have any strong opinions at the head of the market. I was just looking at Orion's Belt and Havana Anna each way at a bit of a price.
Yeah, nice prices. Havana Anna at 20s, Orion's Belt at 40 to 1. So big prices about the pair of those 2 fillies in this one. Dave, any opinions at the head of the market, or are you looking at bigger prices as well?
Kind of towards the head of the market, but not the actual favourite in this race. I think Royal Fixation clearly looks like a nice horse. The penultimate run behind Venetian Sun was a really good effort. Stepped forward from that, but I don't think it's as marked as the ratings of that performance have come out after. But I guess we'll find out. 7 to 4 favourite for a reason. Where Andrew talked about Aidan O'Brien or the Irish trainers doing well in this race, I do find it really hard to get away from True Love. I know she got beat last time out when she was a short price favourite. She came travelling in that race like she was going to get to the horse in front. There are reports after to say that there was some mild lameness on her. You never will definitely know when it's happened in a race, but there's a chance that she came to win the race as far as I was concerned, and then she was slow in the finish. I wonder whether something might have happened just towards the end of the race, however that would be, whether it's, I don't know, cramping or all sorts of stuff. Anything I suppose could happen in those finishes, but she's not been seen for a while since. They did talk about this race for her. They talked about the Phoenix Stakes where she raced in the car where she was beat when she was 1-4, but then they talked about this race as part of the plan too. And she did still get a 105 RPR last time out for finishing a race where she wasn't completely and utterly sound. Like I say, she's been kept off, so that sort of marries up with it too. I guess similar to Blue Storm in the race before, this race probably has been a target. Whether they've managed to get them 100% ready and sound for the race would be the sort of grey area. And with Ryan Moore not riding at the moment, sometimes it's tricky to look at the jockey bookings to work out who is right at the top of the tree. But you go back to her Nav and Maiden defeat behind Gustad, that looks like all right form for that. Gustad's been beaten at a time too. She's going back against the girls now. She's got loads of this Group 1 and Group 2 form running against the Colts as well. So I just think this is, dare I say, an easier assignment for her, despite the fact that it's a Group 1. She's incredibly fast. The ground at Newmarket at the moment is good. There's good to firm in places. Like, I think this is going to be perfect ground for her. And only if she's not 100% fit do I see her getting beat. If she's anywhere near being 100% fit, I know you can't win a race if you're 95%, not a Group 1, but if she is 100% sound for this and things have gone to plan since, I think she will absolutely hack up in this. So 9-2 about her as the top price looks generous, given the fact we've got 9 runners in here, so it's 3 places up for grabs. So I think my stance on it is that while she's at 9-2 for obvious reasons, given she sort of failed to deliver last time out, she represents a reasonable each way bet, because I'd have a bit shorter, I think. Like I say, even knowing what happened last time out. So True Love for me for Aidan O'Brien.
It's going to be interesting to see how Beautify and True Love go in the betting here. They're both currently top price at 9-2, but True Love, though, for Wayne Lorden and also for Dave, then in the Cheveley Park Stakes. Right, that was the fillies. Turn of the Colts now in the Group 1 Middle Park Stakes for the 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs. The shorter price favourite in this one with Wise Approach at 11-10 for William Buick and Charlie Appleby. So again, we've got the same amount of runners as the fillies for this one, Dave. So who wins it?
I mean, it's an exciting looking race, to be honest. It's a tricky one to have confidence in, I think. You've got Wise Approach at the head of the market, who justifies being there, but I'm just starting to wonder now if he's starting to be a little bit exposed. There's bits and pieces of his form that have looked good. There's bits and pieces of his form that haven't particularly been boosted. This is a Group 1 as well, so it is, I mean, maybe not the strongest Group 1, but I still think it's going to take a very good horse that's going to need to go and win this one. There's not been too many horses that have tried to win this race off the back of just one run. I think it's maybe 6 or 7 this century, but one of those horses did manage to go and win the race, which means that the Publican Son, after a real sort of eye-catching run, I guess, last time out, first time up in a Group 3, means that the horse probably has got a conceivable chance of being able to make up what it would look like in ratings the horse needs to do. But saying about what it needs to do on ratings, it got a 99 RPR for that debut effort, which, to put it into context with Wise Approach, took that horse 3 starts to get there. And then Wise Approach then went into Group Company after that and then took like big strides forward. It's not that far that the Publican's got to go to get to the same level as Wise Approach. There's every reason to think that if they've thrown the horse into Group Company to start off with, he's run second at a massive price. He was ridden out the back nice and patiently. It may be the case that the horses that he's passed were just tired horses and they went a little bit too quick too soon, but I don't think that's the case. So it looks like a race where Wise Approach deserves to be favoured, but is too short for me. I do think something's going to have to step forwards to go and win the race. There's a lot of runners in here that I just don't think can do that. I don't think they're capable of running to even a bad performance from Wise Approach. But I do think the Publican Son showed enough on debut, and hopefully it wasn't a fluke, means he's the one to play in it. Again, you mentioned about the number of runners. It's a fifth of the odds, 3 places, top price 5-1 about the Publican Son. So I'd much rather have an each way swing on that horse for the fact that it's got potential and could be a very, very good horse, rather than sort of siding with Wise Approach at even money when I think it probably is a bit of a coin flip for him. So the Publican Son for Joseph O'Brien and me.
And Sheen Murphy taking the ride as well, which is really interesting when you've got the Andrew Balding horse 5 ways in here. I'm assuming, is that a retainer of some sort for Sheen Murphy while he has to ride the Publican Son, or I'm not sure. I lose track of Sheen Murphy's retainers at this point, but interesting the fact that he takes the ride.
He's got more than Holly Doyle anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's actually taken one of those from her basically as well, hasn't he? But at 5-1, the Publican Son for Dave. Andrew, who wins the Middle Park?
Yeah, very tricky. My bookmaker instinct is to take on Wise Approach at the price, given that he was beaten in France last time out, albeit narrowly. But the two who beat him in the pre-morning have both been defeated since. Venetian Sun and Starred. So, and then the Publican Sun is short enough, I thought, given that he's only had the one run previously. Both are drawn high, so just keep an eye on those earlier races to see if that is a big advantage or not. I was semi-interested in 5 ways for Andrew Balding. I was impressed by his the manner of his Salisbury win, 2 runs back, and then last time out, although he only won narrowly at Kempton, he did hang to the left in the closing stages and was still in command, I thought, at the line despite narrow margin of defeat. It's back on a straight track, the likely front runner in the race. We've seen a couple of times front runners have caused upsets in this race. The last line was 25-1 when making all in 2016 for Mark Johnson. US Navy flag was a surprisingly big price for Aidan O'Brien, 10-1 the following year. So 5 ways from the front could go well. I will just have my price of a lottery ticket each way on Havana Hurricane, who did seem to find the drop to 5 furlongs against him at Doncaster last time, when completely outpaced behind Revival Power in the Flying Childers before staying on to just finish out of the places in 4th, going down by 2 lengths. So back over 6 furlongs. Havana Hurricane each way, drawn near the pace 5 ways, and will hopefully be staying on late and appreciate the stiff finish.
And another 20-1 shot as well, Havana Hurricane at this time around for Andrew. Right, we head up to Haydock again now for the 3:15. 0-105 handicap, 3-year-olds and over a mile. 7-2 the field. The unbeaten First Ambition from those 2 starts was known so far. Heads away, Andrew. So you're going to take him on a side with him.
Yeah, this is a belting race, and similar to the earlier Haydock Class 2 0-105 handicap, 3- and 4-year-olds have dominated. They've won all 10 of the renewals since 2014, and horses aged 5 or older are 0-47 in this one. A First Ambition, he's arriving on 100% record, both wins on the all-weather, only won narrowly at Southall last time, but that's worked out really well with the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th from that race all winning since. So I'm fascinated to see how he gets on his turf debut. Tilted Kilt will be popular, I think, given the at a price, given the unlucky run of the course and distance last time out, but everyone noticed that, I thought, and you just wonder if he's going to be one of these sort of perpetually unlucky horses. He won on his debut, but he's gone 0-13 since, so I wouldn't be rushing to back him, even though he has a double figure price now. The other interesting one I thought was Midnight Gun, a 4-year-old who hasn't been seen since the Lincoln. And of course, go back to Doncaster in March, there was a really strong wind bias in that race, very strong headwind. Godwinson won the Lincoln by coming from off the pace. The runner-up held up in rear, the 3rd held up in rear, the 4th Keenhold towards rear, the 5th Galeron held up in rear. Midnight Gun in 6th, prominent disputing 2nd over 1 furlong out, was first home of those who raced anywhere near the front end. That was his first run since a gelding operation. Absolutely no idea why he's been off the track since. Hopefully it's been nothing too serious. And I thought maybe, although he's drawn wide in stall 11, Midnight Gun could come back and run a good race here. But so going back to the age thing as well, if you just bet all the 3-year-olds in this race, you'd have found 7 winners from 31 bets across the last 10 renewals and made a profit of £35. And there are several of those. Again, I haven't sort of mentioned them either. So it's a tricky race. It's tempting on the 3-year-old angle, but I just like that run of Midnight Gun in the Lincoln, and I'll give him a chance despite the break.
Okay, then Midnight Gun, like I say, 182 days since we last saw him, but he is a 9-2 shot in here, clipped in from 13-2 already as well. Dave, who wins?
Yeah, it's a good looking race, to be fair. Andrew's talked about First Ambition with the form of that last time out win, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th have all won since, so that looks decent form. And when we've talked about the ages in here as well, I think it's definitely worth reminding everyone at home that First Ambition is a 4-year-old, but made his debut in the January of this year. The run that was last time out in August was after an 8-month break, so they've clearly had issues with the horse to only get 2 runs as a 4-year-old into it, and obviously having the 8-month gap in between. But I mean, touch wood, everything's gone to plan now. They've got a handicap mark for a handicap debut, and where Andrew was talking about the 3- and the 4-year-olds doing well, already ticks the box in the fact of being a 4-year-old, but would probably have a bit more of the profile of a 3-year-old coming in here, with the fact that they would typically be more lightly rated and maybe handicap debutants in there, although I've not done the work on that. So I just thought that there was loads to like about First Ambition just from a normal aspect, what the horse did last time out, and from a rating of 91, the horses that come out and sort of won from behind were a good few lengths behind. They were sort of well beaten, and there's a couple of horses that are now rated in the mid 80s. So after just 2 starts, that performance looks like the horse can be better than a 91 rated animal. And like I say, the fact that he is a bit older, maybe he's a bit more mature, he's a bit more forward than a typical horse that's only had 2 starts going in here. So I thought First Ambition, albeit 7-2 favourite at the front of the market, might be short enough for some. I mean, if there's a bit of money for the horse on this turf debut, as Andrew touched on, both those runs were on the all-weather. I think 7-2 looks probably a generous price, so would definitely be my selection in this.
Oh, there you go then. I wonder if I haven't actually read up on it, and fooled me not to have done with First Ambition, why he only made that belated debut. Because, of course, he's the son of Lawrence, and he was bred at Coverdale Stud, wasn't he? So he must have been part of that dispersal sale from John Dance's stud at that point. And I wonder if that has caused some delays to his career getting underway. But yeah, I'll do some bit of reading into that, to be fair, and see if I can find any more answers about First Ambition. But what he is doing on the track now has been very impressive. 2 from 2 in his career. He's 7-2, heading the way for that 3:15 at Haydock. Right, on to the 3:40 now at Newmarket, the Cambridgeshire Heritage Handicap, 3-year-olds and over 9 furlongs. As competitive as always. For all that, we're slightly down on numbers in comparison to a few previous years, which is slightly disappointing. But 5-1 at the field that we've got to go at, Dave. So what was your angle?
Oh, my angle with the Cambridgeshire is to try and not get too excited about something towards the front, because I've been bullish in a big competitive handicap before. I've had loads of horses finishing well out the back of it. Last year's renewal is just worth touching on for the fact that, like I say statistically, but you can look at the trends this race. It does seem to be a bit of a preference to be drawn high, but last year, it being soft ground, the winner was drawn low, and that's been a little bit of a theme for some of the winners that have won from low draws. Like when it's been soft ground, it has been better to be on that side of things. I just sort of used a bit more of a profile-y type one for this race rather than going on a full form basis to start with, but then I can put a bit of form in behind it as well. So as you mentioned, the field could be 35, couldn't it? We've only got 24. That is as small a renewal as I can ever remember in the Cambridgeshire. Looking back at, I guess, more recent renewals, or at least this century, where there's been less than 30 runners to give a bit of a feel. 2022, we had Majestic win at 25-1. There was 28 runners or 28 declared, and the horse was drawn 14. 2021, we had Bedwin Story, 40-1 winner, 26 declared, and 19 was the stall of choice for Bedwin Story. 2020 was Majestic Dawn at 40-1, 27 runners in there, again stall 19. And 2008, we had Ts&Cs at 25-1, 28 runners, stall 14. So whether that's got any semblance of relevance on this race or not, I'm not entirely sure, but it does help the fact of looking at sort of middle to higher draws. If you look at the numbers they're drawn from there, it's sort of like the 50th percentile to the 70th percentile. So that'll be stalls 12 to 17, I'd say, would be the absolute sweet spot when we've got 24 runners compared to the 35. The reason I mention all that stuff is because when we get the bigger fields, being drawn 25 plus has been a positive in the past, but with only 24 runners, you can't tick that box. So the long story short with that is when we've had shorter runners as well, we've had two 25-1 winners, 2 40-1 winners. And like I say, from a form perspective, there's loads of horses towards the front you can make a bit of a case for, but I'd rather steer clear of that. 6-year-olds also have the best strike rate this century in the Cambridgeshire. It is only down at 5%. I think 3-year-olds are 4%, 4 and 5-year-olds are 3%, but they still do have the best strike rate. Lots of horses ran at 8 or 10 furlongs last time out in a Class 2 handicap. And then there's a bonus point as well I'll throw in for horses that were sent off single figures last time out. So all that said, Cash tops the list for me, for David Egan and David Simcock. Now, on my stats thing, I've looked back. I need to try and get this double checked from a more reliable source such as Andrew Mountain, but I don't think David Egan's ridden for David Simcock in a handicap since he was a claimer, which is back in 2013. But he had a phenomenal record for him back then. He was like a 22% strike rate, I think it was, 100% return on investment. And Jamie Spencer's been riding Cash in all of his races bar one, I think, but Jamie Spencer's just not riding at the moment. So I think it looks like an interesting jockey booking in there. He's also a course winner on debut. He's £4 better off with Treble T now because they both come in off of unadjusted marks, but Treble T carries that winner's penalty. He was only beaten a couple of lengths the time before. So I thought Cash at 28-1 top price with 6 places up for grabs looked a stupid price. So he would definitely be the first of the selections. But considering it's the Cambridgeshire and I've talked about horses winning at big prices, I also found a horse, Savvy Victory, that ticked most boxes in there. The bonus point of not being sent off single figures last time out was missing for this horse, but looks a bit of a wild price at 50 to 1 top price with 6 places up for grabs. Jack Cannon takes £5 off this horse. He's only had one ride for the winner, one ride for the trainer, which is a recent one. It was a half-length 4 for 12, albeit in like a lower class race. But this horse did win off of 104, I think it was last December, down to a mark of 101. He's in the realms of being okayly treated. I think he's got a reasonable draw being on the sort of the high top side, and is £12 better off with Westrich, who's priced up at 9 to 1. It was a horse that almost ticked the boxes for trends, but I've penalised the horse for winning twice this season. So just at the prices, Savvy Victory's 50 to 1, Cash is 28 to 1. 6 places up for grabs. I will definitely play the pair of those.
Yeah, nice prices, like you say. Yeah, Cash at 28 to 1 and then 50 to 1 for Savvy Victory. So nice prices, and you can definitely have at least 2 horses in the Cambridgeshire, even if we are down on numbers. So Andrew, go at it how you want.
Yeah, very tricky. Yeah, draw and pace wise, all the pace seems to be low, or certainly the bulk of it. I've gone through the runners individually for this, and I thought Silver Sword from stall 1 of 24 led the runners down the centre in this race last year. Mr. Swivel, stall 2, that's another likely front runner. That one's got a good record on local tracks. There's one here at Yarmouth and at Chelmsford. Thunder Run from stall 5, Boiling Point from stall 6. And if you look at the high draws, you got Cash, a hold-up horse in 24 of 24. Eisingen is a hold-up horse, 23. Real Gain. There's not a lot of pace amongst the high numbers. A couple of prominent ones like sort of 5th column in 18, maybe Urban Lion in 19. But generally, it's all hold-up horses. So you wonder if at 24, maybe they will race in what is practically one heap. Sort of down the middle, or even more towards the far side, unless the earlier races suggest there's a massive stand side bias. So that makes life a little bit tricky as well. Shortlist comprises of Mahaba Gayeth from stall 4, who ran respectably against the pace bias when keeping on to 8th and 15 at York last time. Treble T from stall 7. 5th column, I thought was fairly unlucky not to be unbeaten. Since he's been gelded. You look at since he's had his knackers off, first, 7th of 30 in the Royal Hunt Cup, winning the race on his side. First, 5th of 15 at Goodwood, and trouble and not enjoying the soft ground, and first. So I thought Jonathan Gosson's runner was sort of solid despite the nagging concern about the draw. Urban Lion would have a chance on his Royal Hunt Cup run when he was 3rd best of those on the far side. Tribal Chief, 2 runs here have produced 2nd places to Bullet Point. I think one of those, when Bullet Point was running up a mark in the 80s, he's now something like 105. Eisenjan, high draw, but another one who ran reasonably well against the pace bias behind Mahaba Gayeth in that York race. So there's a ridiculous number of horses on my shortlist. I keep coming back to Treble T. I don't like backing favourites in a race like this. And at the moment, I think he's rock solid, and the conqueror of Cash last time out. Going back to your David Egan, David Simcox stats, 9 rides, 1 winner. 6 handicap runs, no winners, but a couple of those have placed. So obviously a very small sample size and too small to draw any hard and fast conclusions from. But I'll take a flyer that all the pace seems to be far side. You might want to be drawn more towards that side, or they're racing one heap down the middle. And I'll go Treble T to defy the penalty.
Treble T to defy the penalty. He is a 5 to 1 shot in this one, but thank you for clearing up the David Egan, David Simcox stats there, all the same, in double quick time as well. That felt like he must be doing it as he was talking and previewing that race. So very impressive work, missed them out. Right, that is all of the scheduled televised races on Saturday done and dusted. So Andrew, I'll go back to you, please. Anything from anywhere else?
The Jersey Lily at Newmarket, which is the 4:15 on Saturday. I think this used to be televised. I'm pretty sure it's been on sort of Channel 4 or ITV Racing in the past. Some strong stats here. Locally trained runners do well. 7 of the last 10 winners were trained in Newmarket, backing them all return to profit. 7 of the last 10 winners were making their nursery debut as well. And again, you back all the qualifiers, you make a profit. Chuck those 2 angles together, you get 1 qualifier, and that's Secret Echo for Roger Varian. So I'll go with that one in the Jersey Lily.
Okay, cool. Like you say, prices haven't come through just yet, but Secret Echo, that was horse number 12, wasn't it? Yeah. In that 4:15. Thank you, at Newmarket. Dave, over to you. Anything from anywhere else?
Not for me this week, no.
Okay, no problem at all. So Dave, I'll go back to you, please, for your nap of this weekend.
Oh, I feel like I've got a few horses that I could easily make excuses for if they get beat, but the one horse I could make no excuse for will be Bo Echo in the Royal Lodge Stakes. So hopefully we get the show off to a good start.
There you go. That's a good way to decide your nap, actually, to be fair, is what excuses are you likely to use if a horse gets beat? If you've got a horse that has seemingly got none of those against their name and it's a golden opportunity for them, then really, in theory, they should be on nap. So there you go. Then Bo Echo for Dave. Andrew.
Nothing strong at the moment this weekend, but I'll go for Secret Echo in the 4:15 at Newmarket at the Jersey Lily Nursery.
There you go then. Yeah, like I said, we'll wait till prices come through there. But for now, though, it is going to be Secret Echo for Andrew. So do make sure to catch the lads' columns, as always, then for any sort of updates on their tips between now and the time of racing. But lads, thank you so much for all of your hard work, as always. Big thank you to you for watching. Enjoy the action this weekend, and we'll speak to you again next week.